Well, welcome back to the Handy Homestead. I'm still working on food plots, and this one's going to be a new food plot. I've never had one in here before, but I've had that feeder set up here for a few years, and deer filter through here, and there's a path right there, and I just built that fresh food plot over there, and then beyond that's my older food plot, about a third of an acre. So this one right here, that feeder may or may not get moved, but I wanted something to grow here. I've run into the part where I have more wildlife than really what I do have food to feed them. So I'm trying to get more food here available for them. And this looks like good dirt, but it's the same way as it has been. This brown right here, that's the dirt. That's a clay. And I've heard clay's better than sand. Supposedly sand doesn't have very many nutrients in it, and what minerals are in it just washes through. Whereas clay, it supposedly has the minerals and the nutrients in it, and it'll hold water. I don't know, sometimes it seems like sand would be better, but clay is what I have, and I've got a lot of it, and rocks, which you can see some of the scrap right here and over there. There used to be an old barn set here, and we know the old lady that used to have this piece of ground right here. And when she had married into her husband's family, there was an old barn set here, and we're talking 1950s. I think she married into the family. And she said, when we talked to her about it, she's like, yeah, I remember that. Said it fell down, and it sat there from 1950 until about 2020. And I had some time on my hands, and I came back here and I salvaged what lumber I could out of it. And then everything else I pushed off to the sides. And it's been a process trying to get it cleaned up. There's trees growing through it. And she's talking 1950s. When she came into the family, I figure the barn was built somewhere around 1920s, probably, something like that. So there's bits and pieces of rocks and metal and stuff still here. And you can't till this ground. There were so many trees here, like that one. Big stump right there. Another stump right there. And this rock right here, I have tried with a tractor, with shovels, everything to get that thing out. And my best guess is it was probably a corner of the old barn, because I can't budge it. You can see I kind of made some leeway on the edge right there, but it won't move. Tractor pushing up against it won't do nothing. So, but this is what it's looking like. And green's coming up in here good enough where it was cleared. It was already an opening that I'll end up having to come in here, and I'll have to get some vinegar spray and spray it on, kill it back before I put anything on it, any clover seed or anything. I don't know what all this stuff is, but it'll grow a couple foot tall, whatever that weed is. It'll grow a couple foot tall in here. And somewhere around the time of November, it'll have all died back, and the deer will have it all knocked down where they've come into the feeder. But I'm dealing with pig bedding again. If you've seen my video on how I'm raising the piglets over the winter, this is their bedding. It's a 16 by 16 pen, and I go through probably every 5 days, every 7 days, something, and put more wood chips in there with them. And this is what they do with it. Fresh wood chips is real bright, real pretty brown. And after they're done with them, they've manured them. They've added a lot of their nutrients to it. What would consider usually be a waste product, they've added that to this, and now I'm able to use this as fertilizer. And if you guys are homesteaders and you've looked into silvopasture, you'll know that this and that doesn't really build soil. We'll come up over here someplace I've never had a tractor before. I've never mowed, never had a shovel. And those are pretty leaves. But you go down just an inch and you're down to bare dirt. We're down to that clay already. Maybe not even an inch. So the only carbon source woods get put on it every year is when trees die or whenever they drop the leaves. So I'm putting more carbon down, adding more to the soil in one day here than they are probably getting put on it every year. So this is going to be good. It's going to boost the microbiology in the soil. I've already said more than all I know. Listen to Gabe Brown if you want to hear more on that. But it really does take off. Whenever I got my place here, I wanted to go fishing one time, and I looked for probably 30 minutes and I found just a couple little spindly little worms. Ever since I started doing this kind of stuff, started gardening, introduced to animals, started using their manure and their bedding, boy, we can go fishing now, and we got some big old worms too. I have bigger worms now than fish I've caught. And that's not saying I'm a good fisherman. That's just saying I got big worms. But anyhow, this is what I do. It's completely different than what conventional farming would do. We have a conventional pig operation a couple miles from here. And they've got a big pond out back behind their facility. And they pump all their waste into that pond. And you go on the road down from their facility, and it's like an ooze coming up through that road. And it's staining the whole road in through there, like an ugly, like a puke brown color is the only way I can describe it. Stinks up the whole area, contaminating everything. There's no way anyone could have a well and drink out of it there. But so this is how we're using it instead. We consolidate it when we can, chicken coops, pig pasture, whatever you want to call it. Even kept our sheep confined for a couple weeks during the cold snap there a little while ago. Put bedding down for them. We'll use all of that, and we'll put it on the pastures. We're putting it on the food plots, and it's just going to make it better. But this little area has got 5 bucket loads, tractor bucket loads put on it. Really, I wouldn't mind having a couple more, but the ground's too wet. I've already tore up enough getting back here. But anyway, so you all hang with me, and I'm going to spread that. But don't worry, it doesn't take very long. See, told you it didn't take very long. Got it done just like that. I would have twinkled my nose like Barbara Eden, but I don't think I'd look near as good as she did when she done it. Here it is. I do have a water hole over here. If you can do 2 things to help your hunting, a food plot, something that the deer can come eat. You can count on white oaks or, chestnuts, fruit trees, whatever you got. But the number 2 is a water hole. I had deer hit this within 24 hours of me putting it out. I put a camera, I think probably on that tree or that tree, pointed right there, and deer started hitting it right off the bat. And where it's in a valley, it collects the water from the runoff of the hill coming down here. I had to fill it up that first time, that initial time, and it's been in there for years, and I've never touched it again. And that is I think that's a Tractor Supply 110-gallon water tank. And like I said, that's the number 2. To me, it does better than, it does better than minerals, does better than corn even. Deer really use that. And I think it does benefit them quite a bit. But, all right, let's see here. Long enough break. I'm going to do that pile right there. Yep, that one didn't take long either. Just like that. And it's done. The perk of all that is wood chips really don't weigh that much. It's not like I'm buying potting soil or, sand or anything thrown out here. I can just put this in the tractor, bring it back here close to where I want it and set it down. And I could actually probably spread it with the tractor if I wanted to, but I like how it spreads out more whenever I throw it out. So I'm going to do that one. But would you guys do it? Can you do it? Here, I'll even snap my fingers. Nope, that didn't work. Come on, don't be lazy. Well, there you go. Thank you. I'm glad somebody else done it for once. All right, well, I'm about done with it. Like I said, I have to come in here, spray it off with vinegar. If you guys haven't ever tried that, try that. Roundup has a lot of, well, it's debatable, I guess, at a certain point, but Roundup has a lot of ill health effects. And I actually think it does anyway. I know they argue differently, but vinegar, I guess it might burn you, but whenever you're done spraying it, I don't have to worry about me being in it. I don't have to worry about my kids being in it or animals. It just kind of smells like salt and vinegar chips. So, and that's just a high acidic vinegar. I think they make up to 50% acidic. I usually get something about 35%. So it's not your canning vinegar. And then you can dilute it a little bit with water if you want, like put 33% water in it or something. And then put some dish soap on it, and that helps it cling to the plant, and it will burn that plant up and wilt it down, and then whatever you've got seeded will grow. So you guys have a good day. Bye.